that was that. But Survivor Series, we shall talk about it. Initial thoughts?
Some very good, I was going to say very good, some good wrestling overshadowed by some just horrendous booking.
Yeah, this was not the most well-booked show I've ever seen in my life, and all I gotta say is just a lot of questions coming out of it. So I guess we'll start from the beginning, what we saw. Chris Benoit, Booker T, match 1 of the new Best of 7 series. It was your basic Booker T versus Chris Benoit match, and I think just going out there and having a match, they'll have a 3-star match.
Yep.
It's pretty much what they did here. Nothing really special about it, not really a lot of heat for a lot of it, but Booker just beat on him for so long that anytime Benoit did anything, they went nuts.
Yep.
So Benoit finally made his big comeback. And even though Booker had taken about 85% of the match, he still pinned him with using the ropes, rolled him up, and it was interesting.
Sharmell got involved.
Yeah, Sharmell was involved. So Benoit got a big ovation from the crowd. It was a good match, but nothing exceptional, and they will rematch match 2 this coming Tuesday night.
Yeah, a good choice for the opener.
Yeah? That's it?
That's all.
Okay.
Well, we just talked about it.
I've at least figured out when you're not going to say anything.
You have figured out?
Yeah, but I still leave that moment of silence so everybody realizes that you've just puttered out.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's the kind of host I am. So then we had Eric meeting with, I just did a classic figure 4 faux pas. I wrote Eric in his gi met with Bischoff. Eric actually met with McMahon. They had
He
a
was
little.
not in a gi.
What?
He was not wearing a gi.
Eric was.
Yeah, Vince wasn't.
Thank you. So Vince said, good luck. Eric said tonight he was going to kick Teddy Long's ass. His team was going to be the SmackDown team. And then finally he was going to recreate Montreal later by screwing Cena. And right then I thought, God damn it, Cena's going to win. Sort of ruined my night. But then Vince appeared, and why don't you run down what happened there?
Well, right as soon as Bischoff said he was going to screw Cena, Cena magically appeared right behind him. And he mentioned something about Eric liking to screw guys, and Eric left. And Cena and Vince did the Soul Brother handshake. And Vince McMahon said, and I quote, "What's good in the hood?"
Yeah.
And at that point, everyone in the Proper household began to laugh hysterically, which is sad because apparently Vince later used the word nigga.
Yeah, he used the N-word.
Yeah, and he walked by Booker T, and what we all came together to see was Booker T shaking and saying, "Tell me he didn't just say that." And that was apparently the end of it.
Yeah.
So.
And Vince was so proud of himself for being so just
hip.
Overwhelmingly white. And he did the biggest strut ever walking away.
Yeah.
It was odd.
It was very odd. People are going to get very upset by it, and there was a time when I would have too. I don't know.
It's hard to get upset because it's just so stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to. I mean, sometimes people will do stuff with malice or whatever. This was just Vince McMahon's an idiot.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to get mad at someone just so clueless. You know what I mean? I guess you could get mad at him for being stupid, but it's just dumb.
It's going to be the best analogy, but I'll make it anyway. It's like when EML had Los Talibanes, which should have been terribly offensive. But
that's different, though.
Dumb.
I think that's different because there's something about Mexico where it's such a cartoon that number one, I guess it's, I don't know, there's something about it where it's just so wacky that
you can't take it seriously.
In no way can you take it seriously.
And if you can't take it seriously, it really can't be that offensive.
Like La Nazi, a wrestling Nazi in Mexico. I mean, Brent Kremen is Jewish, and I think if I showed him La Nazi, he'd just do the Brent giggle. You know what I mean? I don't think he'd be greatly offended. It's different. In America, it's harder. I mean, that stuff just doesn't fly. But this was just Vince being a geek, basically. We need Cliffy. I need to get a soundbite of Cliffy going, G-E-E-K, geek. And
you can even say Vince is a geek for this one in order to fly.
Yeah, you could say Vinny is a goober. So
Vinny is a goober.
Yeah, then we had Trish Stratus and Melina for the women's title, which I wrote on the news update. It was the SmackDown title, and I was quickly alerted by, I believe, Ian Hamilton that it was actually the Raw Women's title. And, a newsletter writer should not be making these mistakes, and it's not drug-induced. It's just I forget these things because there's no reason to remember them. So anyway, they had a match.
Before they started, Craig made some kind of disparaging remark about how it wasn't going to be any good or wouldn't be watchable.
Fool.
What is he talking about?
Yeah.
Trish is Trish, and Melina, for someone who's, we never saw her wrestle in OVW and is basically just done brawling with what she's got to work with on SmackDown, but it always looked like she could be good, and this was okay.
I will say this. I believe that I have underrated Melina. I will not say this for sure, but she has now had 2 good matches in a row, and one was with Christy Hemme.
That's true.
So she had a good match with Christy Hemme, and granted, I think Christy's improved a lot because this was not all the one-man show by Melina. Christy held up her end just fine. And then she went on and had a good match with Trish.
Yes, she did.
And here's when I really decided that Melina was good. Trish went for a headstand spot or something, and something went awry. And Melina did not even miss a beat. She immediately, no hesitation whatsoever. She saw that Trish was going to fuck it up, and she just pounced on her and delivered these forearms to the back. And it was flawless.
Yeah.
And then they had a good match, and bunch of wackiness ensued. Mickie James interfered and led to the finish, which was Melina getting pinned with a bulldog off the top, sort of. Trish actually did a jumping ass-first seat drop off the top rope, and Melina took a bump, and that was the finish. But this was far better than it had any right to be. So, good stuff.
Indeed.
Thank you, Vince. Triple H and Ric Flair in a last man standing match. Dave wrote on the website a couple days ago, is there anybody that thinks that Triple H is not going to win? And I actually sent him an email, and I said, me. I think Ric Flair's going to win because, I figure Hunter ain't going to want the belt, and Flair can, win another match without pinning Hunter because it's last man standing. Hunter can do a fluke job or whatever, and then cost Flair the belt somehow, and then beat him at the next show. Well, I was a fool. Dave was right. He didn't even respond to the email, so obviously he knew. Didn't feel like smarting me up or whatever. But they had a good match.
Actually, let's reverse. Let's say the shoe was on the other foot there, and you had somehow known that Hunter was going to win this match, and Dave sent you an email saying that he thought Flair could win. I don't think you would bite your tongue. I think you would remind Dave Meltzer that he was being wrong. And certainly after the fact, you would bring it up. No,
never.
If I did it, you would.
Oh, yeah, with you. You're totally different, though.
Well, that's actually...
I have great respect for Dave. I'm sorry. But, so anyway, what were we talking about? Hunter and Flair.
It was good.
Yeah. Flair is 56 years old and doing all sorts of, dare I say, bullshit.
No, that's valid.
Jesus Christ, taking these fucking bumps on the floor, over the barricade to the floor.
The head.
Yeah, he was just...
bleeding a mofo and gigging some more.
Yeah, he lost his mind.
He was doing stuff that Hunter is too old to do.
I was terrified for Flair during this match. This was one of those matches where he looked very old, and... how should I say this? Expect him to start looking a lot older. And this was an old night. And, yeah, there was some real wackiness here, real craziness. Just gigged like a mother. And actually, the best part was, my exact words in the newsletter were, Flair, of course, gigged like a motherfucker. And I swear to God, seconds after I finished typing that, Flair was on his knees gigging even more.
Yes.
Apparently, he hit a gusher and decided, this is not quite enough. I'm going to cut myself at least 3 more times.
I need to balance it out with a gusher on the other side of my head.
Yeah, so he's just bleeding like crazy. They beat the piss out of each other. There wasn't a lot of heat. Probably more than last month, but still not a lot of heat. I don't know why these guys cannot seem to get much of an audience reaction out of it. Part of me thinks it's just people are scared that Flair's going to actually die in the ring. And, I realize that Eddie Guerrero just passed away, and I don't want this to sound callous, but I watch Flair sometimes, and I think he may go down and never get up one of these days. And it's terrifying. And this was one of those nights where I thought that. And thankfully he survived, and he survived in order to be just defeated utterly. Pedigreed 3 straight times, and then hit in the back of the head with a sledgehammer, didn't get up for the 10 count. They stretchered him out, and they stretchered him out like he was not coming back. So This was quite the deal here, but, very, very good match, and not sure what else to say about it.
I think part of the lack of heat is that as good as Hunter is, and I think he's very good, he's still been out there for 5 straight years or whatever it is now.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of the same stuff. And, for various reasons, everyone else who was around during the boom period is out of the business now, or at least out of the spotlight. And he's still there, and everyone has just seen it all so many times before.
Yeah. Then we had a just stupid segment. I hated this segment. Edge and Lita came out.
Oh, yeah.
And Edge said he was pleased to announce he was going to start the Cutting Edge. Which, his name is Edge, so of course the Cutting Edge, But there was absolutely nothing cutting edge about this segment whatsoever. This was the least cutting edge interview segment I've ever seen. He ranted and raved about the local sports team to get some heat. And there was a man named Dimitri Young of some local sports team sitting in the front row, which I'm sure Vince can identify. And Edge started running him down. And he said this man's team had no chance of winning a World Series. And he wanted to know if it was because of poor training or, quote, a lack of steroids. And then he began burying baseballs, saying it was a bunch of crybaby geeks hooked on amphetamines. And I thought, this is just such utter bullshit.
Complete bullshit.
Vince McMahon, okay, let me get this straight. Vince McMahon announces last week that they're going to start drug testing, and now 7 days later, he's got an absolutely clean company. Give me a break. Just so absolutely retarded. Reeked of retardity, to coin a phrase, really.
Yeah.
And partially steal a phrase, but just absolutely the audacity of the company. This is now the company line. We're clean. We're cleaner than all other sports now. Just because last week...
all other industries, all other fields.
The fucking policy has not even been drafted yet. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, there were some guys on this show that have begun to cycle off, but it's not like everybody shrunk. Everybody's still huge. Everybody's still jacked, and if you tested everybody on that fucking roster tomorrow, 95% of them would fail.
Yeah,
and here's Edge. Oh, we're all
taking pain pills.
Jeez, that just drove me nuts. So finally, Dimitri got the mic and said, basically, Edge, you've got no balls, and all these wacky teams in Chicago have won world titles, and you have not. And Edge got really mad and said, just like some other team or some other player, I'm leaving Chicago. And he walked out. And
it was
Detroit, whatever. But that was it.
That was it.
Nobody came out to beat up Edge. They did not build up any matches. The fucking Dimitri didn't hop the rail. Nothing. Edge just came out, ranted and raved, got some cheap heat on the town, left, never to be seen again.
This might have been okay on a house show kind of deal.
Yeah.
This was a fucking pay-per-view.
Yeah, or if...
It was the goddamn Survivor Series, one of the big 4.
Sure, or if Edge was going to jump Dimitri and somebody else was going to make a save to build up to a match.
Yeah.
Maybe for the fucking Tuesday special.
Yeah.
Edge can't work, so I guess that's one of the reasons. But
I suspect Dimitri Young also can't work.
So stupid, just retarded. And speaking of, John Cena and Kurt Angle for the WWE title. Daivari came out for the special ref, and this needs to end immediately. I cannot handle it anymore. In the first fucking 2 fucking minutes of this match, there's an ankle lock. No, I'm sorry. Cena made a cover. Daivari did not do a slow count. Daivari just didn't count. He just stood there. So Cena got in his face, and Angle put him in the ankle lock. And did Daivari just go ring the bell? No. No. He was too fair. So Cena's kicking and screaming and stuck in this ankle lock, and he finally grabs the ropes. And what does Daivari do? He kicks his hand off the ropes. He's evil enough to not count. He's evil enough to kick the fucking hand off the ropes, but he's not evil enough to just ring the bell and get it over with. So I was just unleashing a barrage of swear words in Craig's house, which under the roof of God is not usually the best thing to do. But Craig was, I think Craig understood because he did not silence me.
I think he was happy you were swearing for him.
Actually, his exact words were, I've never been in the room when there's been a heel ref and Brian's been going off.
Yes.
So I think that he was enjoying this just, So anyway.
Maybe not enjoying, just marveling at it.
This stupid, anyway. So finally he gets knocked out, and I could not be more happy. Another ref ran out, and then I could sort of concentrate on the match, and the highlight was the dueling Let's Go Angle and Let's Go Cena chants. And these were passionate chants.
Yes.
Absolutely. Every man in the building was chanting, Let's Go Angle. And every girl in the building was chanting, Let's Go Cena. And these dudes were not to be defeated by these women. They were like, fuck this. You keep going there, ladies. You're going to lose. And, of course, eventually they won. And this continued on and off throughout the night. And lots of Cena sucks chants, that sort of thing. So it ended up with about 16 refs taking bumps. And finally, a SmackDown ref ran in, and Cena hit the FU and pinned Kurt Angle.
And that's it.
I don't even know what to say. I was just appalled.
My favorite moment of this was actually when there was at one point where half the crowd was chanting Angle sucks and half was chanting Cena sucks, but it wasn't so much dueling; it was simultaneous.
Yeah.
So you just kind of heard, "Woo, it sucks! Woo, it sucks!"
Yeah, it was.
There was so much going on, you couldn't even really rate it as a wrestling match.
Yeah.
It was a very long angle.
I will say this: it's not over, and
yeah.
I'm thinking. I could be totally wrong here, and I may be proven a fool tomorrow, but I've been proven a fool enough the last couple of days, so I don't give a fuck. Cage match tomorrow, Angle wins the belt. That's my prediction right here. Because normally, in fact, it may be Hell in a Cell for all I know, because normally when they do the gimmick where 16 refs get knocked out, it leads to the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
But they may end up just doing a cage match instead. But I strongly suspect, and it would actually, of course, be smarter, since you're not making any ad revenue money, if you announced the match on Monday and then shot it the next Monday and title change hands there. But I'm thinking Angle's going to get the belt. There are concerns that he's beat up, and the exact wording to me was, can he hold up if we put the title on him? And I think he can. I mean, it's not going to be a long-term deal. You're not building the company around him. You need a strong heel to get the belt after Cena, and Angle can drop it to somebody else down the road. But for now, you need to get it off Cena because this experiment has failed miserably. And, I mean, when he won, the first thing I thought was, well, here's Vince again just going, you guys don't like Cena? Well, screw you. You got your heads up your asses. I'm going to push this guy. And they can't do that. They've got to do something. So I'm thinking title change very soon, probably in a cage match. But I could be wrong. I have been before. And Cena pinned him with his finisher, so that makes me think even stronger that he's going to lose the belt soon. But anyway.
I don't blame you for thinking that, but that just shows you how screwed up thinking this company is. When the champion pins the challenger relatively clean, but when he hits his finisher and pins him, that should end the feud.
Yeah, but
no. Oh, no. Now it's just Chapter 3.
Yeah. So, it was, annoying.
Yeah, Survivor Series is now officially over, and they have to start figuring out what they want to do for Mania. So whatever they want to do, they kind of need to start setting it up here in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
Then we had Teddy Long versus Eric Bischoff. And all I'm going to say about this match to start out is Sean, our buddy Sean, said where's his exact comment? I'm going to read the exact thing right here. Did the winner of the Bischoff versus Long match get anything? And the answer is they are going to win the Worst Match of the Year award in the Observer this year. That's what they got. This was so ungodly terrible. It was.
Yeah, it's a virtual walk for the award. A, it's a strong candidate, and B, it came out right before the voting. So, I nothing else can come to mind that would top this.
Abysmal. They came out. Everybody hated it from
the get-go.
From before the opening bell. And, I mean, there were boring chants 5 seconds into the match. I did the math. There were 6 matches on the show. That means we paid approximately $6 for this particular bout. And I don't know what to say. A horrible, horrible match. The Boogeyman appeared in mid-ring, which I guess was supposed to work after all this time. And if you didn't see the show and you're wondering how the Boogeyman could possibly not have been great, well, he was involved in this just horrible encounter. And he gave Bischoff the pump handle slam, and then Teddy Long got the pin. So SmackDown won. And what a match they won. What a match. So
yeah, this was I would not have thought this possible, but this was significantly worse than I was expecting going in.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that.
The only good thing
the
about...
Bish versus Peanut Head.
Yeah. The only good thing about this match, and I mean the only thing, was Eric Bischoff delivered a karate thrust. He basically gave him a karate chop to the neck. It was so awesome. That's it.
I was wrong.
What'd you think I was going to say?
You may have left the room here, but afterwards, once Teddy recovered a little bit and he realized he had won, Teddy and the network guy danced.
I did miss that.
And
in fact, I remember this. I walked into the kitchen and talked to Michelle for a while. I couldn't handle the show after this. I needed to take a break.
No, and Teddy and the network guy dancing together were almost, no, it didn't come close to making the whole thing worth it, but it made me like life a little bit.
Wow. Then we had the main event, Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series match. Batista, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, JBL, and Blaster versus HBK, Kane, Carlito, Big Show, Chris Masters. If you haven't figured it out already, Batista is not taking time off. He's going to fight through his injury.
He's going to fight through his torn lat muscle.
That should tell you something, by the way, about how deep these problems run in WWE these days. But, yep, he fought through it, and he was in this match. And this was a mess, just a booking mess. And the first problem was they billed Undertaker's appearing on this show. And, of course, the main event started and he had not appeared yet, so throughout the match, there were scattered chants for Undertaker, and including a loud "We Want Taker" match when it came down to Shawn Michaels and Randy Orton together in the ring. And I thought, these two guys can have a great match, and no one gives a shit. They want to see The Undertaker. That was problem number 1. Actually, that was problem about number 8. Problem number 1 was...
Blaster Lashley was in the match.
Yeah, Bobby Lashley did not do an injury angle. He did not get counted out. He wrestled the match and ran wild a little bit early, but then was chokeslammed by Kane from the apron, mind you. Not even in the ring. Kane grabbed him on the apron, gave him a chokeslam like he would any other jobber, and Shawn Michaels pinned Blaster Lashley. He was
this was the first elimination of the match.
Yeah, first man eliminated.
Carlito was still out there.
Yeah.
Chris Masters still out there.
Yeah. So Bobby Lashley, it's been real, dude. You had a lot of potential. I'm sorry they screwed it up, but what can you do?
It was unfathomable.
Then...
I don't know. We could talk about this forever, we shouldn't, but what was the point?
There was no point. They were stupid. They thought, he's a big man with a great body, and he throws small dudes around. We're going to just shove him to the top. There's no logical reason for it, Vince. You can't go, why? I don't know. There's no good reason for it. It was just stupid. It was just a stupid idea. And I think it was Sean said, why not Ken Kennedy? Why not?
Yeah.
Ken Kennedy's done some jobs. He's in the jobbing phase right now as it is.
Yeah.
What's another one going to do for him? It ain't going to hurt him. So just totally beyond stupid. Next man pinned after Blaster Lashley, Big Dave. That's right. I understand he's hurt. You can just hide him on the apron for a little bit longer so your world champion wasn't the second guy pinned. Taking bump after bump after bump, too, with
actually,
the torn lat.
A minor correction. Big Dave, he pinned Kane, but then was pinned about 30 seconds later.
What did he pin Kane with?
A spinebuster.
Did he?
He spinebusted Kane and pinned him, but Kane didn't leave. See, that was the thing.
I see.
Kane sat up, and then he and Show hit the double chokeslam, and Show pinned Dave.
I know why I missed it. I'm actually reading the report right here where I presume that Kane would have been destroyed, and all I've written is the announcer spent about 3 minutes
Oh, we
bitching.
haven't talked about the announcers yet.
Yeah, the announcer spent about 3 minutes here bitching back and forth about why the other brand sucks. This was style versus coach times 10, and it blew. Basically, all 5 guys, all 5 announcers, the entire 3-man Raw crew and the 2-man SmackDown crew were out there doing announcing. And instead of just fucking calling the match, they did, like I said, the Styles versus coach bitching back and forth, and they did it forever.
And it sucked.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Are we going to do a handicap announcers match? No. What the hell was the point of this? We're watching Raw versus SmackDown right now, so shut the hell up and call the match. It killed this match.
It actually would have been an improvement if they had just given each man a microphone and no headphones so they couldn't hear each other, and just let them all call the match at the same time on one audio feed.
I don't know about that.
No, just a constant mumbling roar would have been a vast improvement over this.
I see, yes.
Pissant bickering.
It was just ungodly terrible. So you had that, just bantering, bitching, blah, blah, blah. In the ring was a match being booked horribly, and I actually left the pay-per-view thinking the show wasn't that bad, and you guys were telling me how awful it was. And now as I'm actually recapping it here, I realize how terrible the show really was. Good God.
I remember thinking someone posted they couldn't wait to hear Brian's hate-filled rant, and I thought, wow, this guy's going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I thought
well, you know what?
I read that thing, and I thought, 2 people wrote it, actually. They go, I can't wait for a hate-filled BnV show tonight. And I thought, well, sorry, dude, I'm not hate-filled. It wasn't that bad a show. And now here's I'm recapping, and I'm like, oh, my God. What the hell's wrong with this company?
What band of monkeys put this show together?
So, anyway, in fact, I remember about halfway through this match, I mentioned, remember that Survivor Series match where Shawn Michaels was fighting against, 4 men, and it was awesome?
Yeah.
This won that match. But I will say that Shawn did make a big comeback. He was knocked out for a while, supposedly outside. It was great. He was given an overhead SOS throw by JBL, and he sold being knocked out, even though he landed on his back. So apparently this was a devastating maneuver. So he came back into the ring and eliminated Ray Jr., getting his win back from the Eddie show, and JBL with a super kick in succession, and that left him in the ring alone with Orton. They had a match, and I expected Undertaker to run in and cost Orton the match, which, of course, you would think would make sense since that's the next pay-per-view main event. But I guess they figured that it would be better if Orton was put over strong leading into that match, which is not the worst idea. So Orton ended up hitting Shawn with the RKO after Bradshaw distracted Shawn, and that was the end. Orton pinned him. And then the entire SmackDown crew hit the ring to celebrate with Orton. And they're all cheering, and he's on their shoulders. And the lights go out, and Undertaker's dong sounds. The best part was half the SmackDown crew didn't seem to notice any of this. They were still cheering.
Still partying.
Yeah. So then, Orton's like, oh, get me the hell out of here. So Undertaker comes out of this flaming casket. Lightning strikes the casket. The light's on fire. Undertaker comes out of it. He goes to the ring. He may have hit Orton once. I don't even remember. But Orton bails, and Undertaker, who in storyline was killed. He was murdered. They used these exact words on TV. I'm not exaggerating here. Randy Orton said, I killed The Undertaker. I murdered him with fire. He's dead. So anyway, Undertaker returns from the grave in this stupid-ass, retarded storyline, and he's so angry that Randy Orton killed him that he instead beats up the rest of the SmackDown locker room. And Orton watched from the aisle. And I thought, what's happening? Did I miss something here? Did he kill The Undertaker and The Undertaker had a funeral and nobody showed up except the Orton family? Why is The Undertaker so mad at the SmackDown locker room? So he beat them all up, and then he looked at Randy, and the show ended.
Yeah.
That was the end.
This was stupid and retarded. Why didn't they just leave? Why didn't they just say, hey, The Undertaker's coming down here. He looks pissed. I'm leaving.
The best part was The Undertaker, lightning strikes the casket, it lights on fire, and they cut back to the ring, and there's half the SmackDown crew going, this is really cool. Yay! And then Undertaker, it just hits the ring and starts beating him up, and I thought, who wrote this? Who wrote this show? I mean, there's been a lot of writing on WWE TV where I'm just like, this is badly written. There was stuff on the show below that level. This was like the writing crew went on vacation and their immediate family who knows nothing about wrestling decided to write the show.
And me, in fact, live in a assisted living facility.
Oh my God. Okay, looking back, this would. I'm out. The happiness, the relaxation, whatever. It's all left me. I'm filled with anger.
It doesn't matter. You had a good meal.
No, it doesn't matter now.
I'm still in kind of a good.
Plus,
place
that was 6 hours ago. I'm going to get hungry again soon.
Well, that's true. I did just scratch my face, and I noticed that my hand still smells like riblets. So there's that. I do have that going for me.
God, mine does too. But I wash my hands, unlike you.
I washed it with the.
And actually, from looking at you, I suspect you regularly smell like riblets.
I did use my moist towelette.
You're porkish.
I'm no-selling you.
I'm sorry. I thought if I kept throwing in insults, apparently you'd bite. Or
no,
eventually.
I had to point out to you that I'm not paying any attention.
I see.
Which kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, you were paying attention. You got the joke.
Damn it, I'm fat.
You're hamish.
Damn it.
But anyway, so yeah, that was the show. Oh, and I should